What's going on, my people? How are you guys doing? Today, I will be going over SQL injection. The first room, this room will just be about SQLMap, and it will be the basics. And SQLMap is just the tool that we use to automate the SQL injection vulnerability, to find SQL injection vulnerability and exploit it. So instead of doing it, manually, which might take a lot of time, and which you have to kind of understand the back end of like how SQL queries work and everything like that. Um, that kind of like automates. You can automate the whole process with just using SQL Map, and which is a great tool to have in your skill, as part of your skill. So just make sure you follow through it. So just if you don't know what SQL injection is, just SQL injection is just basically you looking for any SQL injection vulnerability in the, especially in the web application, looking for maybe login pages or anything like that, and you looking to see if you can get or retrieve more information from the web server or the database server, without you being authorized. And usually you use malicious SQL queries to get those information, and that's pretty much it. What SQL injection is, and we can obviously automate that using our SQL map. So, this room, it is. I don't think it's a lot to read, to be honest. I've done it earlier, but obviously I will go ahead. I'm not about to read it word to word, but I'll let you go ahead and let you read it at your own pace. But you can always feel free to pause it, and then if you get stuck on any questions, just I will go over the just the answers. So make sure you follow along, and then the task for it will be the practical exercise that we will be focusing on. So let's go ahead and start the machine for that, so we can get our IP address for our start for our machine. That's probably going to take a minute. So let's go ahead and just go over some of the notes. What is SQL injection? SQL injection is a prevalent vulnerability, and it has long been a hot topic in cybersecurity. To understand this vulnerability, we must first learn what the database is, how website interact within a database. Obviously, we have the user, getting or trying to get the information from the database server, and it has to go through the web server. And we will kind of know what SQL injection vulnerability is, and hunting SQL injection through the SQL map tool. While having a solid SQL fundamental knowledge is helpful, but it's not required to complete this room. Obviously, it will help us out if you know what the fundamentals of SQL injection. So, which language builds the interaction between a website and database server? That is SQL. And just know that what the database are managed by database management system, or called DBMS, and those are some MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, or SQLite, or Lit. Some of the DBMS that industry well known database management systems that are out there. So just make sure you are at least aware of those. So let's go ahead and see what SQL injection vulnerabilities, and these. In the previous task, we studied how website and application interact with database to store, modify, and retrieve their data in a structured manner. To see, so let's take an example of a login page that asks you to enter username and password to log in. Let's provide it with the following data. You will put John, and for password undetectable 444. Once you enter username and password, the website will receive it and make an SQL query with your credentials and send it to the database, where in the back end it will be put as this in the database server. So it will select from users, where username is John, and password is this password right here, which we have put in. So this query will be executed in the database. As per this query, the database will check for a username John, and the password for undetectable, which is this password here. If it finds such a user, then it will return the user details to the application. But you have to note that the boolean that we use in our end, so end boolean, that means both conditions has to be true for the database to return some kind of response, since it is end. But if it was or, then just one condition has to be true. So for this example, we will use when sometimes input is improperly sanitized, meaning that the user input is not validated. Attackers can manipulate the input and write SQL queries that would get executed in the database. So in our case, for our example, we would be using John for the name and password. We just use anything here. You could just use ABC, single quote, and then or one equals one, and then semicolon dash dash space dash. This time the attacker typed a random string, which is ABC, and an injected string. This is the most important string that we will be injecting. This single quote will encloses this password, and we have a boolean or statement where just one of these, either this or this, has to be true for the password statement, or to be true or to be returned. So this SQL query that the website would send to the database will now become the following, which is select from users where username is John and password is ABC or 1 is equal to 1. So obviously the password will not be ABC, but we have or boolean statement where 1 is equal to 1. So as long as either or are true, then the password will be returned as the correct password. So this statement looks similar to the previous SQL query, but now adds another condition with the operator or. This query will see if there is a user John, then it will check if John has the password ABC, which could not have because the attacker entered a random password. So ideally the query should fail because it expects both username and password to be correct, and there is an AND operator between them. But this query has another condition, which is the OR, which we have put here. Between the password and statement, 1 is equal to 1. Any of them being true will make excuse me. Thank you. Well, whole SQL query successful. The password fails, so that the query will check the next condition, which checks if 1 is equal to 1. Obviously, 1 is equal to 1. 1 equals to 1 is always true. Sorry guys. I think I might have some cold or something. So it will ignore the random password entered before this, and then consider this statement as true because we have the or condition. So the most important things to note that is the single quote, which is used after ABC here. This right here. This right here, or in our example, this right here is the most important single quote, because without the single quote, the whole string becomes this right here, which the backend database server will put this as the password, which we don't want. So make sure you have that single quote here to be considered as the password. And then once we have that, the whole thing will just become this right here, where the password is ABC or 1 is equal to 1, and then everything after this, single line, this dash dash space dash will make everything after that. It will comment it, so which encloses the original strings ABC in query. So that's kind of the idea. I hope you guys understand this, but if not, just go over it again with your own pace. I'm just kind of skimming through this. I'm going probably too fast on this. Which boolean operator checks if at least one side of the operator is true for the condition to be true, which is the or condition statement. Is 1 is equal to 1 in SQL query always true? Yes, 1 is equal to 1. That is pretty much always true. So we have the automated SQL injection tool carrying out SQL injection attack involves discovering SQL injection vulnerability inside the application and manipulating the database. However, manually doing it can take time and effort, which is true. So before we move forward, it is essential to note that command explained in this task would not work inside the attack box since the vulnerable assumed URL for explanation only, which is this part right here. SQL map testing that try hack me, or THM. So to start your SQL map, you just gotta type SQL map, and you can put dash dash wizard to kind of help you out with the dash dash wizard flag. With SQL map will kind of help you. I mean, walk you through it. It is already installed in most Linux distributions for your SQL map. I'm pretty sure it is in your attack box as well. So you can always start your attack box here and then practice there. But I have already started my machine here, which I will go ahead and start my machine. So if I just put SQL map dash dash wizard, this kind of starts the attack, and then now it kind of guides you through like what you should be doing. So it says please enter full target URL. So if we do have our target, then you just put your target and then you kind of walk through it. But to kind of understand what exactly we have, we can just put SQL map and tac or dash H, or which is just the show. I mean the help, and this kind of gives you exactly which how it works. So you have the target. For our target, you just put tag u and URL where that would be our target. And for data or for cookie, you could just put dash dash cookie, where you can just put the cookie to use the same privilege as you are have logged in as well. Once you are logged in, if you want to use your own the same privilege as you have, then you can just put your cookies once you are logged in. And then what are some other things that we have here? We have dash dash wizard, where simple wizard interface for beginner users. This is so we could use both, to be honest with you. So we did try it here. So the tag. Oh, I keep saying tag. I'm kind of used to that one. But yeah, dash dash DBS flags helps you extract all the database names. So if you're not sure what kind of database we have and what the names are, all you have to do is just start it. And once you have your target, then you just put dash dash DBS to extract all the database names. And once you have the database, let's say you have like a couple of names with the database, for instance, I don't know, like target or whatever, then you put tag D, dash D, which is specific to that username. And then you can use look for tables with dash dash tables. And once you have the table name, then you can just use tag T and then specific. You put that table name, that specific table name, and then you can just put dump to kind of get the content of that table. So the different flags in SQL Map tool let you extract detailed information from the database. I know it's kind of loud out here. I hope you guys can hear me. I know there's a lot of background noise. I'm in a coffee shop, so people are pretty loud out here. But I would just go ahead and like listen to the video again before I post it. If you guys cannot hear me, then I'm gonna have to remake this video again. But the different flags in SQL Map tool lets you extract detailed information from the database. Of course, first step is to look for possible vulnerable URL or request. You may often come across URLs that use get parameter to retrieve data. For example, URL like SQL map testing track me search cat that one uses a parameter cat, which is right here, and then that takes the value of 1. If you guys remember, if it has cat equals 1, and if you have like remember idor, just kind of play around with broken access control as well. That kind of rings the bell. But if you see any web application using get parameters and URLs to retrieve data, you can test the URL with the tag U flag and SQLMap tool, which is where you put the URL once you use -u. This is considered to be HTTP GET based testing. This approach is followed when the application uses GET parameters in the URL to retrieve data from the searches. In real world scenarios, though, many web applications rely on cookies to maintain user sessions, enforce authentication, or apply access controls. To get that, once you are logged in your account, you can actually just use your cookie session and then add this to your SQL map to test it with the same privileges that you have, as I mentioned earlier. But we use supposedly vulnerable website, which is this right here, for the demonstration. Suppose that this website has a search option. When you click on the search option, search for something, URL becomes this right here, which uses the get parameter, which is cat equals to 1 in the URL to extract information from the database. As we know, URLs that have get parameters can be vulnerable to SQL injection, so we can just use SQLMap tag U, and then you put the whole the URL link here, and then you can just put tag DBS, which we have here, to kind of dump the database servers or the names. And then, which as I mentioned, once you do that, it kind of goes through it, and then it gives you which database that it has, like available databases. In our case, it is users and members. So now we have the database. So if you want to extract more information about from the user database, what we would do is we put SQLMap tag U, the link, and then we will put tag D for database, and then the name of the database, which is users. So we put users, and then we do -- tables to see what kind of tables we have and list of the tables we have. Once you do that, it goes through it, and then we have like 1, 2, 3 tables. Once we have the name of the tables, and then we do the same thing again, which -d users, tag T or -t, and the table name, which in our case, here in our case we have the Johnot, Alexis, and Thomas. So if we're trying to get more information about this Thomas table, we just put tag T Thomas and then put dump, tag dump, and that will kind of dump out like anything that we have in that table or in that specific table. In our case, we have the date, name, and pass, which is most likely the password in here. However, unlike the URL test for testing above, you can also use post-based testing, where the application sends data in the request body instead of the URL. So example of this could be login forms, registration form, etc. To follow this approach, you must intercept a post request on the login or registration page and save it as a text file. You can use the following command to input that request saved in the text file for SQLMap tool, which once you have intercepted, save it, and then you could just use tag R to kind of to put it in there. Learn how to intercept and capture post request is out of scope for this room. I will go ahead and go over that probably later, or in a different room. So which flag in the SQLMap tool is used to extract old database, which is tag DBS, which I already have mentioned earlier. What would be the full command of SQLMap for extracting old tables from the members database? And we have the URL, which is this right here. So let's go ahead and copy it. So it would be SQLMap tag U, and then the URL and tag D. Since we already know the database, which is members, and then we don't know what tables they have, so we're just gonna put -- tables. And once we have the tables, we just put tag T, the name of the table, and then we could just put -- dump to dump out all the table content of that table, specific table. And that is pretty much what the idea is. So we go ahead and practical exercise. In this task, we have attached a vulnerable web application for your For you to test SQL injection vulnerabilities, let's start the virtual machine. Da, 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 da. I have already. This is the susceptible. Well, the vulnerable specific link. Let's go ahead and actually go over there and paste it here. Once you log in, you have the email address and the password. What do they want us to do? So in the previous task, we saw that if we see get parameters in the URL, they might be vulnerable to SQL injection. We can copy that URL to see with SQLMap. We also saw that there's a post request. However, in this task, the login page, we have used the get requests, but the parameters of these requests are not visible in the URL. It is a get request, but it's not going to be visible as earlier. So let's say, actually, they want us. Let me just go ahead and read through it. We also that if there's a post request and the data is sent inside the body rather than the URL, we can intercept the request and use it with the SQLMap tool to exploit a SQL injection vulnerability if there is any. However, in this task, we on the login page we have used the get requests, but the parameters of this request are not visible on the URL as they were on the previous task website, which is true. So to test the URL with SQLMap, we need to have a URL along with get parameters. So to get the complete URL along with the get parameters, we need to right click on the login page and click in the inspect option. I can't read for shit today. The process may vary slightly from browser to browser. From here, we have to select the network tab. Then we have to enter some test credentials in the username and password fields and click login button. We'll be able to see the get request. Already, somebody's distracting me beside me. I'll go ahead and I just put test. Go ahead and I'll go ahead and inspect that. As a matter of fact, we can go to network. When we continue, we do have our request here, which is this right here. So if I double click it, if you double click it, it gives you the actual the get request URL that you need, which with the get request of the email and the password. We do have the error message already, but we just looking for this specific URL in our case. So I will be using two methods. The first method is just following along with the dash wizard method, which is just gotta copy and paste it here, and then post data enter for none. Normal, medium, hard. I would just do normal, which is the default. And then enumeration banner current. Please choose basic, default, intermediate. I'll just do the basic. And then SQL map is running. Please wait. And then in our case, here, since we already have SQL map tag U, and I'll go ahead and just use single quote to put everything in our single quote, and then we put tag DBS. I hope you have been following along. What we have just did is we using SQLMap, we use tag U for our link, and I just put the link in our single quote, in both single quote, just to make sure that there's no error. And then we just put tag DBS to get a database servers. And then this might take a little while. I might have to just pause it. Well, not pause the video, but I'm just gonna pause the recording because I don't want this to kind of go over like 30 or 40 minutes. So I'm gonna just let this run, and I get back to you guys in about a minute or two. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and see what's going on, what they're asking for. If you are unable to extract the URL by the above process, you can copy it from below, which is this. They already have that for us, but all you had to do is just double click here in the file once you are in the network, and it should automatically take you to that specific URL link. But in our case, it did work. So let's see. Run the command as discussed in the previous task on the URL and answer the given questions. Answer the questions given in the task. Also remember to include your URL inside single quote. This is to avoid errors with special characters in the terminal, such as the question mark. This string. So I did put it in a single quote. So what is the important note? So you might not get the results by simple scan. So add dash dash level 5 at the end of your commands to perform the in-depth scans. We did not do that, but let's see what's going on. So what is the first question they asked? Do you want the SQL map to try optimize values for DBMS delay response? You probably want yes. Most likely, most of the time, the default answer has been already suggested here with the uppercase letter, so you just follow along. And then on this side, it says that it looks like the backend DBMS MySQL. Do you want to skip the taste payload? Yes, as long as we already know what kind of DBMS they use, we don't want to waste too much time here. For the remaining tests, do you want to include old tests for MySQL extend and provide? So I'll just follow and I just put yes. And then what do they want? Do you want to retry to find proper union columns with the fuzzy test? This says the recommended is no, so I'll just go ahead and put no. And then the recommended is y here. Injection not exploitable with no values. Do you want to try with random integer value for option? I would just put yes. We just follow with given answer with with what is recommended here. This one has, I don't know why it's seized, but I'm waiting on it. Hopefully it's gonna bring up something. But on this side, it says, do you want to try with random integer? I already said yes. Checking if the injection point on get parameter email is a false positive. So it's just going probably injecting multiple SQL queries to find out susceptible point, but point of entry. But in our case, let's go ahead and read what they say. I forgot to add this at the end of the URL, or at the end of the command, but hopefully it would work. So it looks like the backend DBMS is MySQL. Do you want to skip test payload specific for other DBMS? We're supposed to answer yes, which we did. For the remaining tests, do you want to include old test MySQL extended? I think I did say yes. And then get parameter email is vulnerable. Do you want to keep testing others? They say no. I hope. Get parameter email is vulnerable. Do you want to keep testing the others? I'll say no, since they already said no here in our guide. But here on this side where we using dash dash wizards, this is taking a while. We don't know. We'll see how long this will take. But this one says, do you want SQLMap to try to optimize values for BMS delay responses? I'll just say yes, since it is the suggested answer. And then now it's fetching database names and fetching number of databases. So we have already retrieved something, and now it's probably using the delay response time and testing like every single, probably like alphabets and integers. Adjusting time delay to 2 seconds due to good response times, which is good. That's gonna take us a lot less time than the previous method. Here on this side, we don't really have anything because it's just going through it, so I'm just gonna give it more time. But on this side, I don't know if I should just pause it or if I should just later on like fast forward the video. So I'll just go ahead from now on. Like once you have already kind of followed the process, then all you had to do is just sit. You just gotta sit and wait until this whole process finishes. The one on the left or the one on the right, whichever comes first, you just gotta go through it. So let's go ahead and just probably gonna pause the video I keep saying I'm gonna pause it, but I have not paused it yet. It's probably not going to take more than 10 minutes, so I'm gonna just let it ride. So far, I only have been recording for 30 minutes. That's not that bad. It's not too bad. I thought it was going to take at least an hour, so I'm gonna just let it run, and wait for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, maybe like 3 more minutes or 5 minutes. If it takes too much, then I'm gonna just pause it. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and play some music because I was playing some music earlier. But it's not the song that I was trying to play. Let me go ahead and play my music. Sorry, boys.
You're not alone. The best deserves to be celebrated. Done. Invites all sent.
Hold up. We have increasing time delay to 3 seconds. Retrieved. We have INFORMAT. What are some of the questions they asking? As a matter of fact, how many databases are available in this web application? We would not know until that comes back. What is the name of the table available in the AI? So that means we have an AI database named AI. That's a little trick that we could use. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pause it for real, because I don't want this to run forever. All right, my people, we are back. It did take, I don't know how long it took, but probably took like more than 20, maybe 30 minutes. So on this side where we were using dash dash wizard, we have found root at local host, which is the current user, and we have the current database, which is AI, and the current user is DBA, which is true, but nothing, nothing that is really like nothing in particular that is very interesting. So let's go ahead and check this one. But on the other side, we did find about available databases, which is 6. We have AI, information schema, MySQL, performance schema, PHP MyAdmin, and test. These are the 6 databases that we have found. Let's go ahead and answer the first question, which how many databases are available in this web application, which is 6. And then what is the name of the database available in the AI? So now that we are looking into AI, what we would do is we can go ahead and we have the database, which is AI, and then we're looking for tables, so we can go ahead and do tables. And this gonna take another, I don't know how long this gonna take, but another 5 to 10 minutes. And then once we have run this, let's see if we can get something from this as well. So let's go ahead and just wait for a little bit. Do you want SQLMap to try to optimize DPMS? Yes. This might take another like 5 to 10 minutes, so let's go ahead and just wait for this. And we will. What's the name of the database table available? And once we have the table, then we gonna dump what is inside of it, which we should have the password in there. So just go ahead and just wait for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause it again, so I won't be wasting your time on this. Let's go ahead and pause this again. Alrighty, we are back again. This probably took like maybe 1 minute, but we have the table user and the database is AI. So we can go ahead and use tag T for our table, which is user, and then we'll just dump it. I believe it's tag T. just to make sure. We can go back and check. Once we have our tables, it is tagged to yep. We are good. Okay. This okay. What is it asking? Do you want the SQL map to try to optimize values for DBMS? Yes. This is gonna take probably a couple of seconds, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause it one more time for this to run. I don't have to pause it, but I just don't want it to take too long on us. Let's go ahead and wait for a little bit. Go ahead and pause it again. Alrighty, we are back again after maybe 5 minutes, but it looks like we have already received. Well, we dumped the content of the table, which is we have the ID, the email created date, and the password, which we have test at chatai.com, which was created in 2023. And the password is 1 to 8. So let's go ahead and answer the question. What is the name of the table available in the AI database? Which was the table was user, which we have already figured that out in our earlier, enumeration, which is user right there. We never answered that, so let's go ahead and answer that. And what is the password of the test email, which is 1 to 6. Sorry, is it 1 to 6 or 1 to 8? Yep, it's 1 to 8. My bad. 1 to 8, and let's go ahead and check that out. Boom, just like that. We are done with this room. Let's go ahead and probably close that out. It took almost 36 minutes because I paused it, but if I didn't pause it, it would have taken at least an hour or more. But without further ado, I'll just go ahead and end this video, and I will see you guys in the next room later.